Hello and welcome to News of Faith podcast, brought to you by Reverend James Wesley from Worldwide Online Ministry. Check us out at worldwideonlineministry.com. To be on this podcast, send an email to rev.jamesw@yahoo.com.
Hello, welcome to another episode of News of Faith from Worldwide Online Ministries. This is your host, Reverend James Wesley. We have a special guest today, and she is a book author, and her name is, I'll have you pronounce this last one, it's Joan Aubele.
Aubele.
Joan Aubele. Yeah. And she has this fantastic book out called The Dance. It's a story of love, faith, and survival. And I want to really express the meaning of what some people go through. You know, when people are to the end of their rope and to the end of the road or whatever, however you want to say it, and there's nowhere else to go. Where else do you go? Well, this is what happened with Joan. She was at the end. I mean, to tell you the truth, they expected her to not live overnight. This is what the doctors had told everybody at the hospital. And she's here today to tell us what happened 26 years later because of faith and love and survival, you know, and she wrote this book about it. Now, she has been diagnosed with Stage-Four Leukemia, and on top of that, she's had 3 strokes. But yeah, she is a survivor, and I brought her on the show today to let her talk about her life and what she had to do with going through all this difficulty and how she might have felt, you know. I mean, what do you think? You know, so we're gonna talk with her and try to see what she's got to say. Now, because of the 3 strokes that she's had, her speech impairment isn't good, but that's not stopping her either. I mean, she still wants to go out there and tell the world, you know, what happened to her in her life. Mm-hmm. And I just want to, I praise the Lord for people like that will survive and go on and carry through these things, because if it wasn't for him, she might not have made it through that first night that they, you know, I mean, Joan, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me, Reverend.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of things that really puzzles me in this book, even as being a minister. I noticed that there was so many things that to start with, when you first went into the hospital with this stage 4, this was the first thing they found about you, and you know that must have just dropped your whole idea of life right there.
Yes, I was only 29 at the time. So I don't think no matter what age you are, you're really prepared for your death. But at 29, I had 3 small children. I just had a 4-month-old baby at home. I wasn't prepared for this whatsoever.
Wow. And then they had to do a lot of chemotherapy. Well, I'm going to tell a little bit about the book since I haven't read it all, because I want to tell the whole story, but I want to start the beginning of it anyway and let people know that what the book is going to. Now,
sure.
When you were in the hospital and they came up with this leukemia, they waited before they started chemo because a week, 5 days, something like that. Because
they actually delayed it to the end of the week because it was so advanced that why put me through the chemo.
They didn't think you'd live long enough to start it.
Right.
Wow, that's amazing. You know that you're here 26 years later telling this story.
Yes.
Now, I know things went through your mind on this, and this is a true story of Joan. this is not a fiction book. I think you said you changed some names in there to protect people and things like that. But other than that, I know you mentioned a Dr. B or something, where maybe you didn't want to mention the whole name. But it is definitely true from the beginning to end.
Yeah.
And, okay, well, I'm going to let you talk about maybe when you went into the hospital that first time, did you have God with you at that time, or is this something that you worked yourself into when you seen what kind of miracles that He can do with someone?
No, I know for a fact I couldn't have gone through this ordeal without the Lord.
Okay.
My mother preached to me as a young child how to put God in my life and how to pray, and I just really took that to heart.
Mm. So did you at any time think that He was trying to bring you back home to Him, or did you think that He was using you for to use you for testimonies to others, or how did you feel about what?
I really didn't think. I was just so sick that I couldn't even comprehend everything. I didn't see the appropriate way late, but I know that they were all to die. Everybody was saying I should die. And I was actually told to make my funeral arrangements. And then my husband said, well, this is dumb. We're just giving up, and kind of changed things and decided to fight, and it just kept fighting.
Right. You kept fighting. A lot of people don't know how to fight back, on something like this. Some people give up. Yeah. And I think that when you give up, you're saying to yourself that you're not worthy of your life.
Exactly.
Yeah. And your husband, and you two even became closer together while this was going through.
Yes. We always had a good marriage anyway, but it really was like when he came into the room to tell me exactly what form my cancer was, it was, what are we going to do? We were going to do it, get the work together. We were always a team. The nurses actually talked to us and said, well, this will either break or make your marriage because of the strong emotions involved, and it definitely did make our marriage.
Mm.
Every up and down, it was there, the whole thing, which was really nice.
And to start out with, you told about your mother, how she was having a hard time when you was 14 years old. And I'm sure that being raised around someone with that kind of difficulties, that you probably thought, well, this has got to be just not a good life for me right now,
Yeah.
I just can't get over, I got so into this book about you, and then you're in there talking about God and miracles and things like this.
Right.
And you knew that the outcome was from Him, and that's amazing because a lot of people would never even think of God during a time like this. They might say, why God? Why you do this to me? Why you letting me die? Why you going through all this pain? Why are you doing it? But I haven't seen anything in here.
Way.
Yeah, I haven't read anything about where you questioned God about what was going on.
No, I never did.
No, and then that was good, and I think that's why He brought you out of it. He wanted.
Yeah, I think so too.
And He's using you right now today on this podcast to be a testimony to others who are without Christ.
I am. Yes, thanks. I know my mother preached to me as a young child years ago about how I should pray and trust Him. They got Him as my best friend, and that's what He was throughout the whole ordeal. And that's why I decided to write the book to interpret all my experience with the people. Learn from this, all the things that I've learned without having to go through how I went through, that kind of thing. And to really stop and think, are we really supposed to be doing this with our lives? What are we supposed to be doing? Are we selfishly living ourselves, or are we in fact making a difference and therefore living for others like Jesus does?
And then when you come down to realizing exactly, I mean, you'll never know the reason why that happened to you, but you do know the reason. You do know what you can do for the reason it happened to you.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
How many people? I want to recommend this book to anybody and everybody, a young and old, male or female. If I was in the store, in the bookstore, and I seen this book on the shelf, first thing I would see is that big rose on there, and it say the dance. And then when I read, a story of love, faith, and survival, but on the back of the book, most people, they'll turn the back of the book over and they'll read what it's about. And then on the back of the book, it says, the dance is a wonderful example of the healing that comes in sharing the mystery we as humans experience in celebration and also in sickness. We are touched in a deeply spiritual way. The journal speaks of miracles, the effects they have on the family, friends, and all who helped Joan in her journeys. Call the reader to compassion. This well-written book is one that will forever change your heart. And it did mine. Like I said, I'm halfway through the book, but I'm sold on it. It's just so good. And on the show notes, I'm going to put on there where they can find you at for the book. I think it is on Amazon and Goodreads, was it? And, so I'm going to post that on the show notes where they can just click on that and go to there and see about the book. But wow, I mean, the book is important, but the way God moves in some people's lives is just awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm very happy about. I get tons of emails and messages and Facebook messages that come out, and actually physical letters that come from people about how this has impacted their lives. And that's what I feel good about. That I feel like I am doing exactly what God wanted me to do all along. To spread the news and miracles are a thing of the past, that they happen today and every day.
Yeah.
I pretty much wanted to show the importance of prayer, because that's how I got through the whole thing, was praying like 24/7. And about how we're actions affect one another. It's only not a What With Me book, even though, like you heard at the beginning, it's really kind of depressing because you can't believe how much physically happened to me. But it's not a What With Me book. It's more of a, if she can do it, so can I kind of book. I call it like an inspirational memoir. That's what it's intending to do. To give others that are maybe either they're under the ropes, like you said, or just to kind of give them a wake-up call for what their life should be, even if everything is going smooth sailing with it. They need to maybe turn things around.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people wait until their wake-up call is too late. They
exactly.
What is it? Why do you think that some people? I mean, my main thing is to understand you have to have an open mind of what's going on in the world, not in the world, but with the spiritual things, because everybody is open-minded to the worldly things, but spiritual things, you have to definitely be open-minded to this. Is there something that's closed in on people that they can't open that part of their mind up, or is it blocked for a reason?
I don't know. Maybe it's pride. They don't want to admit that they might have been wrong, that there was somebody more higher being than themselves. I don't know. I'm not sure.
But you
I've
really
always
do.
been a Christian.
Yeah.
I've been baptized at Christmas and I attended grade school for years, Catholic grade school for years. So I kind of had the advantage. My mom and dad would pile me along with my 4 sisters into our station wagon every Sunday and holiday to attend Mass.
Right.
But it was really my mom that told me the importance of having God in my life. She explained quite simply that I need to think of the Lord as my best friend and that He's always with me. And maybe some people don't get that. Some people weren't taught as a child and even as an adult. If you're not surrounding yourself with the right people, then that's going to happen.
I've always heard that a child's mind was like a bowl of Jello. You have to put in everything in it you want before it sets up, because you won't be able to put nothing else.
Really.
And that's true. You know, if you were raised, I mean, if you're brought up as a Christian in a Christian family, yeah, it's going to be there. You know, it might be hidden, it might be in the back, but it's there. And sooner or later, It's going to come up to the front. You know,
exactly.
Like that bowl of Jello. You start eating it, you might not get any fruit, but sooner or later, you're going to get some of that fruit with that Jello. And
yes.
So the more you put in it, the quicker you're going to get it out of there. And
right.
Yeah, but a lot of people, you know, like that are not raised in a Christian home. They, like you said, they're hanging with the wrong people. People don't care to take time to talk to them about it, and they're lost. They don't know where to start. And this is what I try to get across to people. I like to bring other people in on my show that's been there and done that and know that it works, and let them be the speaker to these people that don't know. You know, I'm not. I don't take any credit for what I do on this show. I give God all the credit for it. This is what He put me in. He gave me this job to do. I retired almost 2 years ago now. And I told Him that when I retire, I want to give 100% to Him, because I'm not doing anything else. It's all His time. And He has blessed me with so many people with their stories. And it seems like everybody that I've had on the show, there has been something in their life that brought them either closer to God, or that God has brought them out of their situation. Now,
yes.
Being that this has been so long ago, does it still affect you in any way? I mean, how's the leukemia thing going there?
Well, the leukemia has been in remission. Obviously, the patient is still goofed up. I mean, I speak better in the morning like now. I'm not as bad, but from that time, it sounds like a mice potatoes in my mouth. So my balance is goofed up. I can't liquid, I can't ride the bike and things like that, but I can walk. I just kind of wobble. But I can drive. I can drive okay. Because I'm sitting down, the balance issue isn't there anymore. But I'm too afraid to do expressway driving anymore, because it's too fast-paced and the brain doesn't really connect quickly enough. So I can drive around here fine, but I don't go far distances at all.
Do you regret any of this? Do you feel like you're less than what you should be, or did you just pick yourself up and go?
I really don't. I mean, it would be nice to be able to be exactly how I was when I did guitar, sing, and be the vibrant person like I was before, but it's supposed to be in such a way that I can speak about my experiences now, whereas before, what was I going to talk about? I was just a regular mom.
That's good, though. You know, it's like you didn't fall backwards; you leaped forward.
Right, and I figure, you know, if what was my alternative, I may as well try and go for keep on trying to go better than whatever happens.
I enjoy talking to people about these things. I mean, I know there are problems. I know there are heartaches. There's things that goes along with it. But what I enjoy is to see and hear the people with the joy of just, you know, hey, you know, it happened to me, and I can help other people with it. And that's what God's about. Sometimes He didn't put that on you as being a mean God. There's reasons why that happened to you, and He brought you through it. You know, He carried you through the storm.
I mean, I never felt like God did this to me. Like He gave me leukemia, but what He did give me was the opportunity to learn from the experiences. Yeah. That I wanted to be able to tell people. I couldn't have, you know, could have been this selfish thing. Okay, I'm cured and not do anything about it, but it's like I was meant to be cured and taken care of for the reasons to tell others. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Right. And you're doing it. Yeah.
I hope so.
It is. It's working. There's going to be a lot of listeners to hear this episode, and what's one good thing, that you can actually get out there and tell people about it. And there's so many people that are worse off than what you were, and they gave up. Or, if they hadn't have given up, they might have been okay. Never ever give up. Did you say that was your saying? That was your motto? Never give up.
Yeah.
I
mean, that drives me nuts when I hear about how people are being diagnosed when they eventually become to a stage form of cancer. They think they're dying. Well, she's going to die. I'm like, no, only God knows what the plan is. There's no such thing. I'll be kicking and screaming on my deathbed until God says I'm gone. I'm not going to give up at all.
How did you feel, since you went through that 5-6 days, that week that you went through before they started chemo, and then finding out that they didn't think you would live to start it. But how did you feel at the time when they told your husband, we don't think she's going to make it through the night? Did you know at that time that he told the doctor told him that?
Not really. I mean, I'm so sick. My fevers were so high. That's probably part of the brain damage too. Who knows? My fevers were so high. I was so sick. I was 100% sepsis when I went in for emergency surgery.
Right.
So, I mean, I didn't even know what was going on around me. I remember I just prayed like crazy. I cried like crazy. My husband probably prayed and cried, but not in front of me. He would just try to be more supportive.
Right.
And so I didn't even realize they delayed the chemo. I was just going to do whatever they said I should do, that kind of thing.
And look what happened. He stuck it through there. He was with you through the whole thing. He put up with everything and all your problems and everything. And look what he got out of it. He still got you,
Yeah.
Yeah. And he didn't lose anything. And it brought you closer together. Like you said, that you didn't have any problems anyway, but it even brought you closer together. I like that in toward the chapter 6. I was glancing through there, and you never let a day go by without saying I love you. You never, when you go to sleep, you touch, even if it's just your fingertips or your toes. You let each other know that you're there for one another. And that is awesome, because if he hadn't been supportive for you, who knows what might have happened,
Right, exactly. I often told him, too, that I think that I was definitely born, God let me live, and I was born for him. He was born for me.
Right.
So I think if he just lived, if we were living for something else, then that's exactly what I think God wants.
I was always tell, people are saying, I can't find the right person. I've been looking and looking and looking. I said, the best way to find someone is to quit looking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you're working against God. God's going to put that person right in your path, and it's going to smack you right in the forehead, isn't it?
Yep. Exactly.
But he can't work with you interfering. You have to let it all give to him. Let him take it. If you have pain, if you have confusion, if you have anything, that you want to change, say, Lord, you deal with it. That's what you said. You promised me that you would, by his stripes you was healed. And there you go. He can't understand him. And it's sometimes hard for me to understand a lot of things that he does, the way he does it. But it's not for me to understand anyway. Take it with a grain of salt, they say, and go on and just have faith and belief, and it all work out in his way and in his time.
Yeah, well, that's something that's so hard to expect everything to be on their terms, and it's all basically all him, and his time is different than our time, so
we can't even begin to question him or why or how you did something, because we wouldn't understand the answer if he gave it to us.
Right. Well, that'll be my first question. Why did this happen? Why did this happen? I'll have a list of questions for him. And then I'll get,
I know you said that would be your first question, but when you enter the gates of heaven, that's going to be the first thing from your mind right then.
No, I know. I just choose them up. That's it.
I know. But isn't that awesome, though, that at the end, there's no more pain or suffering. And as soon as we walk through those gates, there's no more past. I mean, everything's forward.
Right. Yeah.
We'll be so busy praising Him that we won't care about how things worked out back then.
Yeah. Right.
And, wow, it's a new life, a new start, and never have any of those problems again. Wow, that is amazing. I don't know how else to say it, but I will put in the show notes there how they can find your book and let everybody out there hear about it and read it.
Okay, that sounds good.
I'm anxious, I'm not putting the book down. It's just the last couple of days I've been busy doing other things, and I read it as I can get time. I've seen a lot of comments on Amazon where people had started to read it and they didn't put it down till they was finished. I have only done that with one book, and that was Josh McDowell, More Than a Carpenter. I don't know if you've heard of that book.
Yeah. I've not read it, but I've heard of it. Yeah.
I read that, started reading that, and I did not put that book down until I was finished with it. I think I went to sleep maybe 5 hours, and when I got back up, I started right back in on that book. Yours is, I got it Friday. It's been 4 days. I'm halfway through it. I should have been read the whole thing in that time, but I'm not giving up on it because it's still interesting, even though you know how the end turned out. I want to read that. I do. Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff in there that happens between chapter 3 and 6.
Right.
Well, Joan, I tell you, it's been a real pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
Been on here probably half an hour, a little over, and being that it's raining pretty hard down here, I don't have no internet access. It just went out on me about half an hour before we were supposed to do the interview. Joan, you've been a blessing to a lot of people out there with your testimony and your story about how you survived with love and faith. And we hope to have you back on here at another time. We can catch up on what's been going on since today. So it's starting to rain pretty hard, and it's hard to hear you with hitting the roof here. So until then, people, check out this book. I mean, you'll be blessed by getting this book and reading it, because I'm being blessed as I read it right now.
Thank you.
All right, Joan, thank you. Okay, so I'll get off of here, and I'll be looking for that information that you give me while I'm... All right, thanks for being on the show with us, and I'll see you later. You're welcome. God bless you.
Thanks. God bless you, too. I'll talk to you later.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Bye.